Good morning. Excellency Paulo, Pocinho, Ambassador of Portugal in Pakistan, distinguished guests, chairmen and members of KCFR, ladies and gentlemen, I am Commodore Sadeed Malik, Chief Executive Officer and Secretary General of Karachi Council on Foreign Relations. Today's program will be moderated by our revered member, Board of Governors, Mr. Arshad Saeed Hussain, who is presently the Managing Director of Oxford University Press. May I now request Mr. Arshad Saeed Hussain to welcome His Excellency Paulo Neves Pocinho, Ambassador of Portugal in Pakistan. Mr. Arshad Saeed Hussain.
Thank you, Commodore Malik. It's an honor for me to moderate this webinar with His Excellency Mr. Paulo Neves Pocinho, Ambassador of Portugal in Pakistan. Your Excellency, on behalf of the Chairman and members of the Karachi Council for Foreign Relations, I would like to welcome you to this webinar. We're looking forward to learning from you about the age-old relationship between our two countries and how we can further improve this relationship in the mutual interest of our countries. Before His Excellency, we will have an address by Ambassador Zehra Akbari, who has been an envoy to Portugal. She was awarded the Order of the Aztec Eagle by the Mexican government. Now, may I request Ambassador Zehra Akbari to address and tell us about the history of diplomatic relations between Pakistan and Portugal.
Pakistan and Portugal established diplomatic relations on 7 November 1949. This was followed by the opening of a lower-level Portuguese mission on November 14, 1949 in Karachi. The first Portuguese plenipotentiary minister presented his credentials in 1952. The Portuguese mission in Karachi was raised to the level of an embassy in 1958. The government of Pakistan opened in Lisbon a liaison office at CDA level in 1954. For a number of years, our High Commissioner in London was also covering Portugal as non-resident ambassador. In 1976, this was raised to the level of a resident ambassador, and our presence in Lisbon has since been maintained. The Pakistan-Portuguese Parliamentary Friendship Group has existed in the Portuguese Parliament since 2006. Similarly, in the National Assembly of Pakistan since 2013. The Parliamentary Friendship Group in both countries serve as a useful forum to promote parliamentary contacts and exchanges. In conclusion, let me restate that Pakistan attaches great importance to its relations with Portugal, both in the bilateral context and within the framework of European Union. The two countries have traditionally enjoyed cordial and friendly relations over the years. Thank you.
I will now invite His Excellency Paulo Neves Pocinho, Ambassador of Portugal in Pakistan, for his plenary address.
I would like to thank the Karachi Council on Foreign Relations for this opportunity to speak about Portugal and Pakistan and Portugal. I think the ambassador, in terms of the bilateral relationship, she made a very interesting historical overview, for which I don't have much to add. But I would like also only to say to concentrate, for example, in the issue of the political bilateral consultations. We are preparing for this year in November a new edition of this political consultations. It is a little bit already delayed because the last one was in 2018, but also the COVID and then the EU presidency of Portugal delayed this new the organization of this new edition of the political consultations. So now in November, we are working to have a fruitful consultations. We have different 2 or 3 agreements pending between the two countries, and it is very important to hold regularly the consultations as a means which are very important for the strengthening the friendship and strengthening the bilateral relation in itself.
So the first question is coming from Professor Siraj Huda from Saudi Arabia. What they are asking is that how can we manage student exchange, and he's giving the example of student exchange programs between Singapore and the European universities. So is there a possibility of student exchange programs between Pakistani universities and Portuguese universities?
We have the mission to strengthen the bilateral relations. At this moment, there are no exchange programs for students between Portugal and Pakistan. But there is exactly one area in which we should try to bring together the universities of both countries to create programs in which Pakistani students can study in Portugal, Portuguese students come to Pakistan, even teachers coming Pakistan or Pakistani teachers going to Portugal to have, for example, workshops or small courses. It's very important. We cannot strengthen the relation and the friendship without people-to-people contact. We must try is to bring them together and to create these exchange programs.
Mr. Babar Yousuf, who's based in San Francisco and Islamabad, and his question is that Pakistan and Portugal, both countries are seeing a growth in tech startups and venture capital. Is there a program to facilitate the tech and digital sector between the two countries?
In respect of startup program, we don't have a bilateral Portugal-Pakistan startup program, but the Portuguese government has a general startup program. We call it startup visa, and there is information in the web page of the embassy. We have information on that. The startup visa, in general terms, is a program in which the candidate presents a project for a company or for a business, and then if this project is sent to a Portuguese entity, to the Portuguese government, to Instituto in Portugal, and then they assess the project, they assess the potential of the project, and then they even can facilitate offices for incubator. The interested person can apply for a startup visa to stay in Portugal and start the business in Portugal.
This question is coming from Sadaf Khalid Khan, who's the director at Walnut Travel Tours and Consultancy in Islamabad. How can we promote Lisbon, Portugal as a tourist destination for the Pakistani tourists traveling to Lisbon? Can the embassy facilitate and connect us to top tour operators in Lisbon and also explore other business B2B opportunities between Pakistan and Portugal?
The embassy is providing all consular services now already, in visas and other issues. But in respect of the visas, due to the COVID situation, still this is at the European Union level. Still, we are limited what we call essential traveling. So, we are not completely open to tourism yet. I hope at least in the next 2 months to that European Union countries in general and in particular Portugal is completely open for tourism.
I will now request our chairman, Mr. Ikram Sehgal, to conclude the session.
Excellency, thank you very much. This has been a most informative and an educative session. And before I thank all the participants and the panelists, I would just like to say a few things. I am not a stranger to Portugal in the sense that I first went there in 2017 to speak at the Horasis meeting in Cascais. And I've been in 2017, 18 and 19. And Cascais is a beautiful place. And of course, I learned a lot about Portugal in visiting Cascais, because I also found out that Cascais has got, for IT, in the school children, it's got 100% IT, right? And in fact, a lot of your startups and things like that are based in Cascais. And the mayor of Cascais and etc., they were so assertive about startups, about inviting investment. It was really amazing. And I must thank, of course, gentleman, Dr. Frank Richter, who is the head of Horasis, which basically is known as a mini World Economic Forum now, because basically it concentrates on Europe and China, but it has done a lot of work. And for me, it was a revelation to visit Portugal for the first time. Now, I would tell you also something personal, that my own secretary, executive secretary, who's been with me for 17 years, she is married to a person of Portuguese descent, in fact, from Goa, Mr. Richard Gaspar, who also works for me in a different company. So that is another connection that I have.
Yes.
The third connection is, of course, I must tell you about Portugal is that in the second trip, I took my daughter, Nefer, with me. And Nefer has been with me, traveled all over Europe. We've been by road all over Europe. And when she reached Portugal, after some time, she said, I'm home. I'm home. And I asked her why, because, there are very nice restaurants in Paris, there are very beautiful views in Switzerland and et cetera, et cetera. She says the people are very friendly. And she said, I can eat whatever I feel like. And, the people are very friendly. For me, it's easy to communicate. And, I was encouraged then, of course, and she said, if you want me to have a property for me, I would like it in Portugal. And she's got a property now in Lisbon. So that's very personal for me. I must tell you, the first time I came, and it's a very interesting thing, I came across people of Portuguese descent. I was 50 years ago, almost to the day, I was flying the governor of East Pakistan, then Admiral Hassan, after a very catastrophic cyclone, which almost killed 3 million people in the Bay of Bengal. And I was flying them to the islands of the Bay of Bengal. And I landed on an island called Huda. And, I was very tired, and the governor walked out to visit people, and I fell asleep. When I woke up, this thing, I saw a lot of children having green eyes. So I was very intrigued by this. I said, you've got people of different color green eyes. And I found that these were descendants of Portuguese pirates who had settled in the Bay of Bengal in islands, right? Yeah. So can you imagine going back so many years, you talk about Vasco da Gama, they came as traders, and then with them came the pirates also. And, this was a great area, Bay of Bengal, etc. So I think we have a lot that we have to talk about, between Portugal and Pakistan. And obviously, we would certainly like you when you come here. I must tell you with great, the thing that we have as Karachi Council for Foreign Relations, along with Jinnah Society, we have taken over the Quaid-e-Azam House Museum, which is known as the Flagstaff House, to build a nation-building institute. We are building a world-class auditorium, audiovisual center, of which incidentally, Mr. Arshad Saeed Khan is going to be the head of that particular committee. And, we will certainly in future hold, whenever there is the pandemic, things not there, other than webinars, we're going to have seminars in that location. It is my duty to thank, first of all, I will start with Ambassador Zehra. It was very informative, Ambassador Zehra. I'm only sorry that I missed you in Portugal. I was there in 2017, about the time later on we left, but we should have connected. I think we would have a lot in common at that time. Thank you very much. It was very informative, and I hope that you will be a regular participant of our webinars in the future. We will certainly let you know. We'll keep you on the list so that you keep informed. Then I must thank the moderator, Mr. Arshad Saeed Jan. He's taken Oxford University to a new height. There's no doubt about it. Oxford University really has come and shown, and literary festivals, despite the pandemic, have been so well received, so well distinguished, both in Karachi and Islamabad, that it is amazing. And I'm looking forward to the day when the pandemic eases and people really get together and more people come, because I think the Oxford University Press really contributes a great deal to the education of Pakistan, really. And beyond the education of Pakistan, the education of the people of Pakistan, the books they print, the books on history, geography, literature, other than the textbooks, and the books on fiction, even which are projecting Pakistan's culture, image, etc., are tremendous. I must thank the Secretary General, Commodore Sadeed Malik, basically a submariner, but has been really speaks French very fluently. He has been actually educated in a French institute also from the Pakistan Navy side. And, really, I tell you, he is the backbone of Karachi Council for Foreign Relations. Without him, we would have gone nowhere. The amount of work he has done, and actually, I must commend him for the amount of work that he has done. And it's really a matter of great pride of me. We go back almost 50 years, not more than 50 years. 56 years, I think, when we were both in the military academy together, I as an army cadet and he as a naval cadet, we were both together in the military academy in Khartoum. So there's a long association that we have. Excellency, how can I thank you? It's been more impromptu. We were supposed to have 1 hour, we gone past 1 hour because of the fact that we really learned a lot. And I hope this will be the beginning of a long association with you, because it really, we need to know more about Portugal, and Portugal needs to know more about Pakistan. The interaction must be much more. We have much more in common than people realize, and for many reasons. Like you said, Vasco da Gama was the first one into the Indian Ocean, trying to discover the eastern whatever. But the point is that the amount of we have in common, we've never really leveraged it. We've never taken it to something. You've spoken about something, tourism, startups, etc. We ourselves were thinking of it, some business opportunities there. But the main thing is that on a broad level, Pakistan and Portugal must engage. And we are very grateful for this presentation that you did. We're very grateful for question and answer, and I hope we will go beyond that. So I now request Commodore Sadeed Malik with thanking you most profusely to end the webinar.